What ho, chaps? Flight Commander Von Jolly here. I've got some cracking news for you today. The mighty 2Ps have sent along one of their most esteemed colleagues and will be telling you all about his darn good hobby. I love this fellow. He loves giving the orcs a damn good thrashing, just like me. I hear there's a cracking new game out as well, so I'm sure he'll be talking about those. Funny that my accent from time to time does go a little bit country. Very strange, that. Anyway, we'll head over to the 2Ps, find out what hobby is on the hobby desk.
Sorry about that, some very strange gentlemen wandering through the hobby room right there, but it is on to the hobby desk, update 2 weeks on now from the last one, and starting out with this Warshrine. So this is a model that I've had for about 3 years. I built it, played it in one game unpainted, very unusual for me, and then left it, and I'd done a little bit of work here and there on it. But to be honest, I just didn't relish painting it. And to be quite fair, I have done nothing but complain all the way through the process of getting it up together and done. But absolutely chuffed to have it done. It's the first thing on September's list from the pledge that I spoke about on the podcast, episode 47. And on here, nothing particularly special. Used the contrast paints on the skin of the guys underneath. Also used Wildwood, one of the contrast paints for the wood on the deck there. And my usual snow mix. There is a video that includes my snow mix on YouTube somewhere. Do like that snow mix. I find it's a little bit more wet looking than the Valhalla Blizzard. Bits of blood as well, flames done with the airbrush, but a fairly quick scheme. Took a little while just because there's a lot of detail on there, but I haven't really concerned myself with going back in with final highlights. A little bit of dry brushing even used just to get it done, and I think it fits in quite nicely. And as with all the other models in this collection, there's a big piece of magnetic stuff on the bottom, and that one goes into one of my really useful boxes, which if people are interested I'll do a video about. I just think things are so spiky these days, you simply cannot do it in any other way. So there it is, that is number one, and that is the Warshrine. I wanted to show you these guys. So these are Orc Blitzers from Blood Bowl. These were the last thing I did as part of my pledge for August. I used a lot of the Games Workshop painting guide to paint these, which I quite enjoyed doing. And really, it's just about carrying on the team and getting up to the point where I can take anything, any roster, and create it. Quite pleased. Actually quite pleased. These are designed to, the bases are done to match the neoprene pitch that the Orc team has, and I'm quite pleased with how well that's come off. I do need to put some holes in them and some little magnets for the ball on the front, which is what I've done with the rest of the team, but I haven't got round to on this one yet. Quite a bright colour scheme. I think it goes well with Blood Bowl, and I haven't bothered with a lot of chipping and weathering. I wanted more of a cleaner finish for these guys. And there they are. So 2 Orc Blitzers. Key focus, I suppose, of September. And these guys didn't feature in my original September painting list. And will probably knock it for 6. There's still a great big pile of things to do on there. But these aeroplanes have totally taken my focus. I think they're absolutely stunning. Really enjoy the models. With these, the Orcs, I wanted a nice bright colour scheme. You'll notice if you are interested in Aeronautica, they're not on the stands that you might expect. That's just for painting. I'm going to be using what is called a Hawk widget to go on the underside, which will allow me to put them on and off flight stands really, really easily. I'm also going to take the opportunity to raise them up in the air a bit. I think they're a bit close to the the tabletop. I think visually you could get something a bit better with a bit more height, but obviously you'll see that in a later update. With these guys, the yellow is from the Tamiya range, flat yellow, and what I've actually done, and I'll see if I can zoom in a bit just to give you guys a better view. Apologies for the professional approach. So these guys were sprayed brown, Mornfang brown, Scrag brown, a little bit of orange, and then coated in a chipping medium, heavy chipping from AK Interactive. And then I've base coated them over with Tamiya white, and then the flat yellow, and then used a toothbrush. Oh, sorry, I should say, really, really important, when you've done the browns, you must gloss varnish it. Quite a couple of coats really of gloss varnish, obviously not so much that you clog up the detail, but definitely enough to protect the paint, and then put on your chipping medium. So when you want to activate that, you just cover the model in, or cover the area you want to work on, with a bit of warm water, or put that on a stiff brush. And then I actually used a toothbrush and just moved it back and forth across the plane, taking little bits off. Do take care. Once it's all wet, your fingers will take the paint off as well. So when you're finished, when you're happy with the finish you've got, it's another coat of gloss varnish just to seal it up. Once you've done that, you won't be able to activate it anymore. So do make sure you're happy with where you are. These aren't quite finished yet. I want to add some transfers, and a little bit, just a bit of individuality, I suppose, on these, because they all do look a little bit too uniform perhaps for Orcs, but they're coming along well. They haven't taken too long. I am, of course, working on their counterparts. At the moment, I've just built them. So we've got the Marauder Bomber and Thunderbolt Fighter. Go together really, really well. Lovely kits to build. A little bit fiddly with the little rockets underneath, especially when you've got big fingers like me, but not impossible. And I'm painting up the bases as well. So I've actually, excuse me guys, just moving away. I've actually spray undercoated them, and you can see I've taken the wheels out, so these bottom pieces just pop off. I'm going to try and do it now and manage to break it or some such, or not be able to do it. Used a screwdriver when I did it before. There you go. So you can take the bottoms off and get those little wheels out, so you don't worry about clogging those up. And I'm thinking a sort of a brassy effect, and then using some greens on the dials to give it more of a flighty look. I think that'll look pretty cool. Yeah, so there we are. That's where I am with Aeronautica Imperialis.
There you have it. I've gone properly down to the West Country now with my accent. Watto, get a Watto in. I'll get the posh accent back. Watto, what a damn fine fellow he is. Some fantastic hobby there, although I don't quite understand why he started with the Orcs. I'm going to have to call the Commissar to deal with that. I'm so sorry, I can't. I'm going to have to reveal it. It's actually me. I'm sure you're absolutely shocked. Guys, thank you for putting up with this silliness if you've got this far. Really hope you've enjoyed a little bit of a comedy update on where my hobby is at right now and over the last couple of weeks. Hopefully you've listened to episode 47. At the very least, the hobby desk gives you a bit of an insight as well. Gonna keep trying to do these every couple of weeks, unless obviously someone takes out some kind of police stoppage against me. I'm sure there's a technical word for that, but I'm doing really well with the English today. Looking to do a step-by-step guide on the Orc planes, certainly if there's some interest in that. I've tried to take some photos as I go along. It's normally Ben's area of expertise, but I've had a go. If you do enjoy what you've seen, or are at all interested in the 2Ps and what we're doing, please check out Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at the 2Ps podcast. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, of course, and also check us out on Facebook, and we do have quite an active and a positive hobby group on Facebook as well, where you can get involved.
Thank you very much, guys. Episode 48 we are recording this weekend. We'll be with you next Wednesday. Other than that, have some cracking hobby and
Chocks away and all that.